And over the course of the last 3 years, we've developed a strategic vision with our school district, with our patrons in our community, to develop a new vision on how we're going to move forward. It was really important as I entered the district that we brought in parents and stakeholders in our community in creating that plan. And as we've developed this vision, we're held accountable to it. So I have to report to the Board of Education on our progress. We have to report to the community strategic planning team on our progress. So we take it really personally, the work that's being done in improving the lives of our children. So everything I have to talk to you about today and share with you today is all about how can we create the best school experience for each one of our kids. I'm vested as a superintendent. I'm vested as a father of five kids that attend the district. Have had one that attended briefly and graduated already. So from Reed Springs. So just excited about the work that's being done. So we have essentially two goals that have stemmed from the strategic plan, two areas of need that our community really needs support with. And as we started looking at data and trends, we identified two critical areas to address. You see two photos here in this slide. One is a photo of a young child who's and I will pause and say that this presentation will be will also be on our website. We'll make this available to all community members as well. So if you're chiming in and you're not part of the Kimberling Baptist Church, hello, and please shoot us any questions that you might have. But again, you have a picture of a young child here. This represents an early learner. We're talking about children from infants to kindergarten age, pre-kindergarten. We obviously service all of our kindergartners here, but what we realized in the data was that we have a significant number of students who are underserved, that in our community, unlike communities to our east and at Branson, or even to our north of Nix and other school districts, we really struggle in Stone County to have adequate childcare and early learning experiences for young learners. And it's super clear if you look at the research behind early learning. If you track, and I've said this in multiple forums, that if you track a child who's been introduced and has had really high quality learning experiences, whether in the home, social play, reading, getting introduced to books, imaginative play, all those types of things. If you track a kid who's been exposed to that, whether it's in the home or at our early childhood center, you track a kid that hasn't been, you can almost see clearly through the data, through the research, that the kids that have been exposed to early learning are the kids that are staying out of prison, are the kids that are going into solid careers, are good, productive citizens, or are pursuing a career path or college path. And so in our district, our goal is to serve 80% of all of our kindergartners in early childhood preschool learning settings. Our building has limited capacity. We are unable to service any more children. And again, our goal is to service 80% of our kids. I will also say that many of you may not know this, but over 65% of all the children that attend the Reed Springs School District live in poverty. So we have this really desperate need to shift the paradigm for some families and for some kiddos and give them a brighter future. But we also have this limitation that our building has limited capacity and we're not able to expand. So we're going to share some goals related to that. The other photo is a photo of this Mr. Sears with his automotive class. This is Gibson Technical Center. Many of you are familiar with Career Center. We have shifted in education in a very good way. It used to be not that long ago that if you didn't go to college, you were not going to be on the right path. And we realize that is not the case. We know that going through the career path is a really significant decision, a great decision, a great option. And the way this really impacted me 3 years ago when we had a student who went through our career center, went through our welding program, went and got some additional welding certificates, which didn't take a lot of extra schooling outside of our career center, started welding and came back to visit our students to talk about his experience and showed our students his pay stub. Well, his pay stub for 6 months of work was 6 figures. And so, I went to a 4-year university. I spent some money, obviously in loans and other things to get through that schooling. And I started making $20-something thousand a year. While I wouldn't ever change my career path, it's really important for us to help kids understand that college may be a right path for you, but careers can provide a great living and really a great service for our community. So we're going to talk about 2 of those goals, and then we have one additional thing to address. So the strategic planning team made up of all these community members said, hey, we have these goals, we have these needs. How do we fund this? And one of the strategies is to propose a no tax increase bond issue. I'll say this a couple of times. Everything we're talking about today will not change your current tax bill. Regardless if you vote no or yes, your bill will not change. You're still going to be taxed at the same rate. This is not a tax increase, but we're able to issue a no tax increase bond issue. So essentially there's two ways school districts are funded. You have on one side, you have this operational levy. If you recall, last year we ran Prop RS. That levy increase was dollars that were generated, as I shared last year, to address salaries and programs that we needed to expand and enhance. I was pretty transparent and open about how we were going to do that last year. So the state says, okay, you have this opportunity to go to your patrons and raise some levy dollars to be able to pay good people like Mr. Corporon or the administrators in this room or other teachers maybe that are in this presentation that are present. And how can we get those and retain them? And that's through raising a tax rate. That's not used for capital improvements, facility improvements, busing, and those types of things. So the state has created another avenue for that. There's a different way to pay for that. And these are just the limitations of how our budgets work. So the other way is for us to propose a no tax increase bond issue. And so we're able to, at no tax to the district patrons, we're able to essentially have bonds that investors invest in, and we pursue those at the lowest interest rate, and then we're able to pay those bonds off over time, and able to do that without raising taxes. And so fortunately, again, so if you can think levy is for learning, bonds are for building. So essentially, I'm not going to explain this too long, so we'll kind of move past it. But essentially, a bond is a loan that we do have to pay off. In full transparent, we do have to pay that debt off. Our loan debt rate, the amount we pay, is set for the next 20 years, regardless of how you feel about this, whether or not you vote yes or no on this initiative. And so we're able to do that. And why are we able to do that? We're able to do that because of good fiscal management from the district. And schools are just generally, this is why schools are able to do no tax increase bonds, because schools pay their bills. We have been very aggressive at paying off our bills. We've refinanced those and got them at lower interest rate, and are able to be pretty aggressive at paying those off. So that's allowed us to basically run another no tax increase bond issue without taxing our patrons and asking for more dollars. Also, our assessed valuation in our community continues to rise. You've seen the costs of homes on the lake. You've seen some building projects go up. So our assessed valuation, with a lot of areas, maybe go up 2 to 3%. I think we went 6 to 8% of an increase in our assessed valuation. So just expanding, exploding, which has given us an opportunity at a perfect timing. Really feel like it's divine. Like we're going to be able to address some needs for our kids without having to ask our patrons, who many are on a fixed income, such as my parents who moved here. They're retired, they have a fixed income, they live in the district, they can't really afford to take on more debt. And so just a great opportunity that we can do that. This chart here, without getting into the fine details, you have Hollister at the top and Reed Spring down third to the bottom. This essentially shows you per dollar, 75, we're at 77 cents, 78 cents per dollar of how much we pay, how much we take out in terms of our rate, our tax rate, or our rate for our debt. What this basically shows is that school districts above us, like Hollister, Nixon, Crane, and those districts, are taking a lot more debt out to do projects. They're doing a lot more work. So we're able to have really nice facilities and really address some needs without increasing our tax rate. And so our tax rate here is 77 cents. Actually, we're well below our ceiling. We're allowed to even go higher than that, but we're not going to. Your tax rate, that amount will not change, again, as I said, for the next 20 years, regardless of how you vote on this initiative. So our first strategy is researching, developing, and implementing plans to expand and enhance early childhood programs. So essentially what we're asking and we're proposing is to take our primary school. It's one of our second oldest facility in the district that's requiring a significant amount of maintenance. And we're going to take this building and renovate the building. We're talking new heating and cooling, plumbing, electrical, just bringing it up to code, up to 21st century code. These gold areas on this chart here are new additional space to add on early childhood classrooms. This space over here, I think hopefully you can see my cursor, this space over here also will serve as a tornado shelter. This is not a tornado safe building. We obviously have the middle school that's a tornado safe building, but if we're in a desperate need to get kids safe, these little bodies would have a really hard challenge getting them over to the middle school. So we would be able to put them the students in this little wing and lock them down and keep them safe and secure during a tornado. This gold space, I'll go back to this gold space. This is an inner courtyard. This is this space right here. We're going to roof the top of this inner courtyard. This is dead space. Takes a lot of maintenance and upkeep. It's not used. We're going to roof it and turn this into our library and art room and a conference room location. It's actually a very large space. And so we're excited about these other pictures. Just kind of show some of the issues. It's kind of hard to see, but the building just has a lot of maintenance costs because of the age and usage of the building. So essentially what we're going to have is to the left, you have downstairs, and then upstairs, everything in blue is brand new renovation, all renovation, new flooring, floor to ceiling. And again, all taken up to code and fire code. There's a lot of sprinkler systems that need to go in and things that we need to do to address safety. And then like I said, we're building on this addition. So essentially you're going to have where this new square addition is all the way down this wing. This is all early childhood space. We're expanding all this to early childhood. And then on this wing, we'll have a special ed space, and then we'll have kindergarten and first grade. Down in the basement, we'll have our parents as teachers, which we're expanding as part of our strategic plan, adding more staff. We'll have a social worker, conference room space, and then we have a place for our Gibson Tech students who are involved in our early elementary programming. So if everything works right, I'll show you what this animation looks like of our video. You're dropping in, we're revamping this loop. You'll see this loop's restructured to allow more cars in, so traffic hopefully improves in this area. New playgrounds around all the buildings, actually in elementary and middle school or intermediate school and primary. Those playgrounds will be ADA accessible. They'll be all created so that a child in a wheelchair can access any component of the playground. Currently, that is not the situation. A lot of the brick will stay the same, but any brick that needs to be repaired will be repaired. There'll be new fascia, new front on some parts, awning, so kids won't have to stand in the rain when they're waiting for a car ride. And this is going into that outdoor or that new inner courtyard that's got a roof on it. This is an example of what our library will look like. Mrs. Fitzwater has been phenomenal working with that. And our rest of our primary staff, we've been collaborating for over a year with architects, construction managers, and our teachers and administrators in designing the new facility and creating what we have presented here. This is an example of what a classroom would look like. We're working through all the millwork and all the furniture, and all that will be finalized and ready to go as soon as this passes. We do need a majority of votes for 57% vote for this to pass. Our plan, everything I'm showing you today is a 2-year project. The primary school will be one summer, all next year and the following summer. New Testament Church has blessed us by providing us some classrooms to send kids over there temporarily while we're doing construction on this building. But this picture here shows some ramps where kids in a wheelchair could actually access the playground. So a little bit of what our front here. This front gym is a very big problematic issue. So you see it's got a new face structure, a new structure on the outside, on the exterior, to protect it and get it all caught up to speed. New front design, that's part of the project, new windows. So I'll let you pause there while anybody can ask questions to our representatives in the meeting. Again, if you're watching this online, you can shoot us emails or call us if you have questions. I'm going to keep moving forward, so you're welcome to pause and then restart. All right, college readiness and career readiness is our next goal. This goal is really, really important. I've mentioned that. These are the programs that we currently offer at our Career Center. Oops, let me get back here and see if I can move this. These programs are currently offer. We service 11 school districts in our region, including Branson and Hollister and Forsyth, Galena, and multiple school districts and Reed Spring students. These are half-day programs. Our facility was built in the 60s. It's the oldest building in the district. We have one of the only two career centers that actually has a Marine program. But we also know that we need to expand some programming. The work demands are high for a couple other areas and student interests. And there's one that we know for sure we're going to expand into, and that's engineering. Engineering is a really critical thing for the future of our country. And so this is a high needs and high interest based program that we'll be adding. We're creating a 2,000 square foot space in this new facility to accommodate the work that's going to be done there in this engineering program. The other ones we're exploring are law enforcement and heating and cooling, HVAC. But there's quite a process we'll have to go through for those other two programs, but engineering we're already working on that one. The other thing on there, obviously see here, it's this apprenticeship piece. We're really passionate about making an improved effort. Really, we haven't done a significant amount of work in this area. My feeling is we have so much business, so much opportunity here in our local community. There are students that are going through our high school programs should have an opportunity to get exposed to internship experiences within our local community. And so we are dedicating a staff member who will build an entire program around apprenticeship work. So for example, my nephew, Noah, who's going through the automotive program at our career center, phenomenal program from phenomenal instructors. He's getting ready to graduate and has absolutely no leads on any position as a mechanic or even getting introduced to a shop. And so we want to make sure that kids, when they leave, they have some of those leads and some of those real life on the job skill training experiences. Every student that attends our career center leaves with a credential. For example, if you're going through our CNA program, you leave with a CNA certificate. We have a group of students right now that are building a home that we will sell. So it's really high quality learning. If you think about, many of you, maybe even in attendance, have been working in these related fields, it's been a career in this path. These are the future. I mean, one thing we've learned during COVID is that people just don't want to work. And we're passionate about teaching kids how to work. And these trades are going to be high demand trades. And so we need to service more kids, and we just aren't able to because of the size of that building and the age of the building and just the deficiency there, as well as the tax or the taxing financial burden it places on maintaining that facility. We're moving the facility over here right north of our campus where that green dot is, right next to our high school. We want it to be the face of our district. We want our students, our high school students, to be able to access that facility even on a given period if they would like to. We want all our high school kids to know it doesn't matter. You could be the brightest kid, 36 ACT 4.0, and understand that the Career Center can have a place in your educational path. So we're really excited about moving it there right on the campus. Everything I'm showing you, we are not purchasing any land. We own all of our land in the project. So here's an animation of what this will look like. We're dropping in. Here's the high school, the football field, and here's the new Career Center design, our middle school. We'll talk about this area back here in a minute. So this actually is just woods right now. But we're dropping in, and you can see our Career Center. It's a 2-story building on this side. You have classrooms on the top and the bottom. On this side, you have 2-story of storage space on this part of the building. Then an open yard here, or these are the shops, and this is open yard with our construction zone. Everything's going to be wrapped around in a nice fence area, but really this space in here, this building offers an area to collaborate. In our current building, you cannot get anywhere where you can get the entire student body together. So it really limits you on what you can do in terms of creating a culture of learning. And so we're excited about that. Mrs. Noriega will have a kitchen space and a cafeteria to actually serve in right outside there. A great place to host community events. But here you have shops on the right and left, classrooms on the right, classrooms above. Then this kitchen area is right here we passed, but a little place where we can feed community, feed staff, however that looks. I got a couple still shots of that here in a second. So you can get a front look of what this facility will look like. We went with just the squared up. We try to build the facility, focus it on the space, that learning space is more than the design as much as possible. Obviously it looks nice, but we didn't invest our dollars in creating some award-winning architectural space. We created a space that'll be phenomenal for our kids. This is our shop, what it would look like in that inner courtyard. You can kind of get a sense of how much space will be in there. This is our automotive space for our automotive 1 and 2 programs. They'll now be side by side. They'll be able to collaborate, share tools, share space, share staff in helping service kids. This is an example of our CNA program, where they're located. Just another classroom space. So we're going from a facility that we currently have as 44,000 square feet to 74,000 square feet. So an additional 30,000 square feet of learning space will allow us an opportunity to build 3 new programs. This back here, you can see are some seating. This is a lecture hall. We could host our adult classes there or service students there in different meetings and other events. So again, another great time to pause and ask questions. So I'll give you a chance to do that, but I'm going to continue. So if you want to jump over and give it a pause, that would be great. Otherwise, we'll continue moving forward. The final project is one we're really excited about and passionate about, and it has evolved from a couple needs. One, being new to the community, new to the district, My family and I fell in love with the lake. We feel like that's God's playground. And so we enjoy taking advantage of the lake, but we also enjoy taking our kids to a playground. And we enjoy going on a hike. These are things that we will do, but we're not able to do here local. We have to at least go 30 minutes to Branson area to get a trail or to find an adequate park. Matter of fact, one of my first experience in the district, I was in the Walmart parking lot. I saw a group of kids that were playing on some playground equipment that I thought Walmart was selling. But comes to find out, that's our community playground right there by the gas station. And so while that may have been a great service at the time, it's certainly something that we can do better in. So those are some needs that we see. And we are also selling our career center. We'll be selling it as we build a new one. We have a couple interested parties. We'll also sell the football field there that serves as a youth sports practice facility. We are also losing our cross country course. It was a part of Lane Morrill's property. When Lane passed away, we were unable to acquire that land, so that our cross country course currently sits on property that the district does not own. So as we started thinking about that, we started looking at this space here. We own 150 acres. This is property we own. Some of it will be saved for future building sites. If we ever got a huge increase in enrollment, how to build buildings, we want to make sure we prepare for that for the future. But all this space here is just good space that we've been looking at. So what we're proposing is a park. We call this the Reed Spring Alumni Park. It's something to service our community. As you enter the park, you'll see that we have included in the design tennis courts. We're working with Coach Marshall. Here's our tennis coach. Again, 65% of our students are free and reduced lunch. They're not able to participate in tennis here on campus. They have to find a way to get over to our the tennis courts that we borrow over at Stonebridge. We're not able to have any kind of instruction or classes on campus. So we want to put tennis courts here. There will be some grants and funding that will help support that, along with some pickleball courts. We've heard pickleball is a huge thing, especially in the Kimberling City area. We've been approached by patrons who knew we were doing the Alumni Park and asked to put pickleball courts in. So we are doing that in our design. We'll also have some basketball hoops on those courts so that kids can play basketball. Again, a lot of space in our area. It's tough for kids to find a flat space to shoot some hoops. As you go up through the park, you're going to see on your left an outdoor pavilion where families can have a picnic. There'll be restrooms and a concession stand, and then you'll see 100% ADA accessible playground where a child with any disability, any kind of ability at all, can go on that playground and participate and enjoy it. And I'll show you kind of an example of what that looks like. Some parking, and then you'll see a field. When I show you the animation, it may look like it's turfed. It's just grass. This will be the entrance to our cross-country course. The students in cross-country have to start on a very wide area as they funnel into what will be our cross-country course and will be community hiking trails throughout. We have a lot of opportunities. We're working with Carrie Padilla and the Missouri Conservation to acquire grants and funding to put in hiking trails throughout this area. This will also serve some youth sports programs. So here's the example of our park idea. This park is a park that's outside of St. Louis and Lake St. Louis, Winsville area. This is called Zachary's Playground. Zachary and his family were friends of ours. We lived there. This was our children's favorite playground growing up. This is 100% a child with any kind of ability can get into this with a wheelchair, can navigate this. There's swings that child can get into with the wheelchair. It's a phenomenal space. It was our children's, while they don't have physical disabilities, they're able to use that space. It was their favorite playground. So this kind of envision, we have a committee that will be working on designing that playground. So here's the animation of what this park will look like. We're dropping in. Here's that new career center. Here's the middle school, and we're going here into the park area. You'll see on the right, you'll see our tennis courts. It looks like it's a little blurry, but you can see our tennis courts there, some parking, just to give you a sense of what the space will look like for our patrons. It will be accessible to community. We'll have lights on until maybe 10 p.m. at night that will go off. The maintenance and upkeep of the grounds, here's a pavilion and park area. The maintenance and upkeep we've already worked in through our current staffing and our current services that we provide. So we'll take care and maintain the park. And then here's our community playground. This isn't necessarily what the equipment will look like, but you get a sense of kind of the overall feel of what that building looks like. Here's a picture of the fall, what the park would look like. A huge, amazing space. Additionally, we are also I forgot to add this, we're putting in an Frisbee golf course. We've received a grant. One of our teachers, Shane Corporon, acquired a grant and is able to put in a Frisbee golf course. So we're putting that in this area as well. So here's what I envision. We have kids, families of all economic levels, socioeconomic status. But you know, you can kind of get a sense if you're a family that's maybe struggling with the ability to get transportation, you know, you maybe don't have the funds to go to the school and then to go hiking or go to park. Here's what I envision. Johnny's got practice at the middle school. I'm a parent. I got a couple young little ones. I go drop Johnny at the practice. While I'm waiting to pick him up and take him home, I'm going to the park. I'm having a picnic with my family. We're going to let my kids play on the swings. Maybe we take a hike in the field or go play in the tennis court or whatever. It just becomes a real family zone. We're in a time where families are getting torn apart. I feel like as community leaders, we need to do everything we can to bring families together and to give families a reason to be together. We're also experiencing, because of COVID, just the negative impact that social media and devices have had on kids. So the more outdoor play areas we can create, the spaces we can create for them, the better it's going to be for our children. So we're excited about this. A lot of we're feeling like most of our playgrounds will be 100% grant funded. The bond projects will serve to do a lot of the infrastructure, the lighting, and those work pieces. But we're really excited about what this can bring to our community. Here's an example of what just some of the trail systems will look like. And then with any leftover bond money, we'll do some additional purchasing of primarily buses. Our buses are old and they're 18 to 20 years old. So yeah, the approval of this will allow us to get those buses. Deadline, well, it's already passed deadline for voter registration. We do have to have 57.14% to pass. Here's my final thought. You could vote no on this. Your taxes will not change. They're not going to drop the day after. I know there's some rumors that that's going to happen. That is not the case. Your taxes are set for at least the next 20 years. You can vote yes on this. Your taxes will not increase. However, the lives of our children will change. So I think that's the big selling point. Your taxes aren't going to change with this decision, but the lives of kids will. And so we just encourage you to make an informed decision. I encourage you to vote yes. That's how the Hirschi's are going to vote. I'm not officially on the clock right now, so I can say that. I'm just excited about the potential that this brings to our district and our patrons. And if you have questions, we have staff here that will linger around and answer questions. But thank you so much, and God bless.